All right. So this is mostly just a test, but I want to make sure that I can get the stream up and running for next time. So this is Blender Brunch Bros, and basically I'm working on a game project, and during lunch on Mondays, and I'll be using Blender and Unity as the main tools for it. So definitely feel free to come in and ask any Blender questions you have. I will be using my own kind of custom Blender hotkeys. I can link those to anyone that's interested and tell you how to get those installed. And I'll have the screencast so you can see most of the hotkeys that get pressed. Some of them it doesn't catch. There we go. Right now I'm working on a game project called Quest World. It's kind of an RPG multiplayer game that is kind of played with a combination of VR setup and a bunch of players on their phones in front of a computer connected to the TV. As you can see, I'm working on the hands. Here's the character. Let's see if this is working. On their phones in front of a computer
looks like it's
connected to
coming
the
in.
TV. All right. And I did open up Twitch, but it didn't have any, or it wasn't like loading properly. I don't know if their servers are down. I'm guessing there's a lot of people streaming now, but I'll do that. And through YouTube, then it'll like kind of automatically upload as a video, so that makes that really convenient. Anyways, yeah. So this is Quest Worlds. I'm working on this concept for right now. Making a noble lady character for the game. So I think that's good. There's a lot of different player types that you can play as. Great. Her arms are actually looking really way too small. Some of the sides are too big though. common problem. Great. So if that's working, then that's probably what I'll do from now on, week to week. So for any of my regular, okay, I need to boost the microphone then. Yeah. Great. Well, I will definitely make sure. I'm running. This is going to be from 12 to 1 Eastern time on Mondays. So yeah, I'll definitely make sure to get the audio figured out for next time. Make that a little bit louder, so I don't have to mess with everybody's volume settings on their computer too much. Great. Yeah, I guess I'll go for the rest of the hour. So basically, yeah, this is a noble character that I'm making for a game called Quest Worlds. Let's see if I can launch that real quick. But one of the characters you can play as is a noble, and you aren't really focused around the combat in the game. If you're playing as this character, you're focused on making quests for the heroes, and kind of like an income game. So, anyways, that's what the character I'm working on. I've got some textures, but they need to be remapped. My wife was actually nice enough to come in and fix up, especially the eyes. They still look a little bit scary because they don't have any eyelashes and they're fully wide, but they're looking a lot less creepy than they looked like before. I might have my wife join me on some of these, or host at some point in the future. But yeah, so I'm gonna remap the textures. As you can see, the UV's got totally screwed up with some of the changes, which is totally natural. One of the things that I really like about Blender is that you can kind of jump back and forth if you know where the right tools are. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. So, looks like I made that UV map but never did anything with it. Let me make sure all the objects are together. See, these should all be mirrored. Okay, great. I'm just going to join them all because it'll make fixing all of the materials and stuff, or reprojecting the textures a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is, again, the problem, I kind of skimmed over it, but the problem is basically I had some textures, but they all got screwed up when I added new geometry and added some new faces and stuff. So I want to keep sort of what I've got, although you could definitely make the argument that I could start over. But let's say that I had even more detail done. You can just create a new UV map, grab everything, and unwrap. If I did a good job with seams, then it would do a good unwrap. Looks like there could be a lot more seams here to make this work. So I'm probably gonna reproject another time later. So I'm just going to find a good crease to put my seams, and I'm doing that with Control E. So I've got seams there, and you can see them highlighted in red wherever I put the seams. Oh wow, this hand's just gonna need some help. But yeah, I'm just trying to break down the 3D mesh into a bunch of shapes so that it'll unwrap correctly. A lot of people will want to go all the way through the process of getting their mesh complete before they do unwrapping or texturing, and it does make a lot of sense to do it that way, but I prefer just kind of flying around during the process. I think it's really fun, and it allows you to kind of figure out what you're trying to do along the way. If you have to figure it out ahead of time, I find it makes the decision making a little bit more stressful. And also, you might want to change something at the end anyways. Let's see, starting to get a little better. It'd be great if I could get the head unwrapped better. What I did there is I selected a point on what I was working on, and then I hit Control L, and then it selects that whole element, and then I was able to Control I to invert the selection and hide everything else. I know it's a lot of hotkeys, but it can be really useful for focusing in on what you're trying to work on. Now, normally you would have your head mesh unmirrored, in which case you would need to have a seam up here, and then you would have a seam that goes down like that also. It gives you that familiar head splayed out in a really weird, funky way. Now, because I've got a mirror on, it's already split down the center, so we're not going to see that full shape, but that's still good for now. It looks like the lips are giving me some issues with overlap. Just to make this easier, I'm just going to make this into an island. It's probably because this all comes to a point instead of a smooth gradation. But if I just come in and make the last kind of extrusion backwards into a, oh, that doesn't do anything for me. into an island by marking it like that, then at least it'll throw that somewhere else. Okay, it's still, I mean, I guess the meshes are somewhat overlapped themselves here. That's a tricky problem. And I could manually move these vertices, but I do prefer when Blender does it. Let me see if I just do this for now. Not an ideal place for a seam. Squish that there. But I'll take that for now. Alright. Oops. Let me select that and hide it. See how everything else is doing. The eyeballs are okay. That seems to be okay. What is this? If you select the sync UV selection, that's a good way to debug. Okay, so the arm, why does it have an issue with the arm? Oh, it's because I must not have a line that goes all the way up. Oh yeah, it goes up to here, but not all the way. All right, but the arm is still attached to the shoulder, so that should be separated like that. Okay, and then the hair could probably be chopped up a little bit too. Now, I'll probably go over the UVs and how to cut them up differently in the future at some point. But basically, I'm just trying to, especially for now, get everything to not be overlapping and have a decent amount of space. If I switch to my UV test grid and I switch that to be this, I can get a better breakdown of where the texture space is going. This looks like it's going to be okay for now. So I can go ahead and jump into the shader editor for baking. Actually, I think I tried to do this when Vince was watching, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Let's see if I can get on the first go this time. So in the shader editor, it just kind of gives you the breakdown of your material. And what I'm going to do so that I can kind of preserve the remnants of my, where is it? Of this texture, I want to bring that over to the new UVs. So if I tried to paint on this, it would, yeah, you see it's painting all over itself. So painting here, paints everywhere. So I don't want that. So I want to transfer it to a new UV map where everything has its place and there's no overlapping. That would be an example of things overlapping. Oh, why did it do that? Oh, I must have undone a few times and just reload that. Yeah, sometimes when you undo with the texture editor, if you haven't been working in it long, it freaks out a little bit. Good reason to definitely save your image a lot and be a little bit cautious with the undos when you're just starting to work on it. All right, but on the second UV map, and in the shader editor window, I'm going to go ahead and add texture, image, running out of time, but I should be able to get this bake off, and then add input UV map, and this is going to be the UV map we're on now. We'll make sure the camera item is checked here, and we need, oops, I'm just going to paste another UV map, and this will be set to our source. It says final, but this should be something more like source. So if we select this, we add a new texture. Let's make it 2048 by 2048. And we'll call it Noble Lady Diffuse 2. Do that, and then where's this? Is there a save button for this? I don't know if there is. Yeah, I'll go into the UV editor, switch to Noble Lady 2, and save it. Find a good place. Okay. And then if I have this selected, if I go in here, switch to cycles, scroll down, make sure diffuse and only color is selected, I should just be able to hit bake. Empty is not a mesh. Oh, well, it's giving me an error, but it does seem to be baking. I might be selected on multiple things. Oh, I forgot to get that thing included. That's fine. I'll work without that for now. Well, give me an error, but it does seem to be baking, so we'll see if it pops up here when it gets to 100%. Well, the taskbar is refusing to hide, but okay. There we go. All right, let's see. And it will bake in these error areas, but now I can actually, if I use S to source, I should be able to, yeah, let me make this back to 100. Paint back over top. Yeah, so now it's all fixed. Yay! I don't want to paint on the eye. Just grabbing a face and then hitting Control L. Oops. Forgot to enable. Oops. That's not the right one. Alt D, I think, yeah, I added my own hotkey for it. Select the faces you want to paint on. Okay. So it's not great, but it doesn't have the errors that it had before. And, I need to now select this. Great. Then next time I will probably get back to some more modeling, and then I'll do the export to Unity to get that character in there. Let's see if Unity, I'm going to save this image. Unity did open up for me. Awesome. So right now, let's see if I can jump to it. Okay. Turn off that. Yeah, so right now I have the kind of select screen with a very old version of the noble woman, and I was going to have her on a horse, but I think at this point I'm actually just going to have her standing. That's enough for now. All right, that's what I'm going to wrap it up for today. But yeah, so I'll be here on Mondays, 12 to 1, doing a stream on working with Blender and Unity. I'll be working on my project, but anybody can come in and ask questions, whether it's people I know or just anyone who's interested. That was a really fast rundown of baking textures to save them away from one UV map that was starting to have errors to a fresh start UV map. Of course, I'm going to be editing the message even more, so I'll probably go through it a few more times, but it becomes a non-destructive process when you can bake it out like that. So for me, it takes a lot of the stress out of it, and it's my preferred way to work on things. All right, great. Thank you. Have a great day.